Imagine meeting your childhood hero when you least expect it. There are certain moments in life that feel almost unreal, moments so emotional, so unexpected, and so powerful that they stay with people forever. Sometimes those moments happen when celebrities stop feeling like untouchable stars living behind cameras and red carpets and suddenly become something much more human, much more real. In a single instant, the distance between a fan and their hero completely disappears. It can happen inside a quiet hospital room when laughter suddenly replaces fear. It can happen in a crowded theater when thousands of voices erupt into screams at the exact same moment. Or it can happen when a child, after years of watching their favorite superhero on a screen, suddenly realizes that hero is standing right in front of them in real life. And few people in the world have mastered creating those unforgettable moments quite like Tom Holland. Over the years, Tom Holland has become far more than just another Hollywood actor. To millions of people around the world, he isn't simply the man who plays Spider-Man. He has become the living embodiment of everything Peter Parker represents: kindness, humility, courage, compassion, heart. What makes Tom stand out isn't just his performance on screen. It's the fact that the warmth audiences see in Peter Parker feels exactly the same when the cameras are no longer rolling. Whether he's surprising children during visits overseas, comforting young patients in hospitals, or unexpectedly showing up to make fans' dreams come true, Tom carries the spirit of Spider-Man into real life in a way that feels incredibly rare. And perhaps the reason fans connect with him so deeply is because nothing about him ever feels forced. Every smile feels genuine. Every laugh feels natural. Every interaction feels sincere. Tom never walks into a room acting like a global superstar demanding attention. Instead, he walks in with the energy of someone who genuinely understands how meaningful these moments can be for people. He speaks to fans with warmth instead of distance. He listens carefully. He jokes around. He makes people feel seen. And that authenticity is exactly what has turned so many ordinary encounters into unforgettable memories. One of the clearest examples of this happened during a memorable trip to China, where Tom surprised a group of children who had absolutely no idea they were about to meet Spider-Man himself. The reactions were pure chaos in the most beautiful way possible. The second Tom appeared, the room exploded with emotion. Some children screamed instantly, jumping up and down in excitement. Others stood frozen in complete disbelief, unable to process what they were seeing. A few covered their mouths while staring silently at him, as if their brains simply refused to believe that Spider-Man had somehow stepped out of a movie and into real life. Tom walked into the room smiling brightly, laughing alongside the children as excitement completely took over the atmosphere. But what made the moment truly special was how personal he made every interaction feel. He didn't rush through the crowd, waving quickly before moving on. He slowed down. He knelt beside the children so he could speak to them at eye level. He asked questions. He laughed with them. He posed for photos while making jokes the entire time. Every child felt important. Every child felt noticed. And for those kids, it didn't feel like they had just met an actor. It felt like they had met a real superhero. The joy on their faces was impossible to fake. Some were so overwhelmed they could barely speak. Others couldn't stop smiling. Parents stood nearby watching emotionally, fully aware they were witnessing a memory their children would probably talk about for the rest of their lives. Moments like those perfectly explain why Tom Holland's connection to Spider-Man feels so authentic. At one point, Tom spoke openly about how much the role means to him, saying, "I think as long as I can do justice to Peter Parker and continue elevating the Spider-Man legacy, I'd be foolish not to admit how lucky I'd be if I ever got to do it again." That quote resonated deeply with fans because it revealed something important about him. To Tom, Spider-Man isn't just a successful franchise or another movie role. Peter Parker represents something bigger: responsibility, hope, kindness, a symbol that has inspired generations of people around the world. And over time, fans began to realize something remarkable. The compassion Peter Parker shows on screen isn't something Tom simply performs, it's genuinely part of who he is. Some of the most emotional proof of that came during his hospital visits. On one unforgettable day, Tom arrived fully dressed as Spider-Man to visit children battling serious illnesses. The atmosphere inside the hospital changed instantly the moment he walked through the doors. Rooms that had once felt heavy with fear and exhaustion suddenly became filled with excitement, laughter, and hope. For many of those children, hospital life had become a daily routine of treatments, machines, medications, and uncertainty. But for a few precious hours, none of that mattered anymore. Spider-Man was there. One young patient looked completely stunned as Tom approached him with a warm smile and softly asked, "What's your name?" The boy quietly answered, "Noah." Without hesitation, Tom leaned closer and replied gently, "I'm Spider-Man. How are you doing?" Immediately, the child's face lit up. His eyes widened with disbelief before a huge smile slowly spread across his face. In that moment, the fear and exhaustion surrounding him seemed to disappear completely. Tom continued visiting room after room, speaking with every child individually as though they were longtime friends instead of strangers meeting for the first time. He joked with them, made funny comments, asked about their favorite superheroes, listened to their stories with complete attention. And then came one of the most unforgettable moments of the entire visit. One child excitedly asked Spider-Man if he could do a flip. Tom grinned mischievously and replied, "You want to see a flip?" Before anyone could react, he suddenly launched himself into a perfect acrobatic flip right there inside the hospital room. The reaction was instant. Children burst into uncontrollable laughter. Parents watched emotionally, many struggling to hide tears as they saw their children smiling in ways they hadn't smiled in weeks. Nurses stopped in the hallways just to watch the moment unfold. For a brief moment, the hospital no longer felt like a place filled with fear and sadness. It felt magical. And perhaps that's the greatest thing Tom Holland does for people. He creates moments where reality briefly feels brighter. As he continued moving through the hospital, his energy never faded. He greeted every child with the same excitement and patience, repeatedly introducing himself with, "Nice to meet you, I'm Spider-Man." At one point, he playfully demonstrated how the lenses on his Spider-Man mask worked. "These can open and close," he explained while adjusting the eyes on the suit. "So if I need to zoom in on bad guys, I can zoom in." The child instantly burst into laughter. Then Tom raised his hand with a grin and said, "High five, buddy." Simple moments like that may sound small from the outside, but for those families, they meant everything. Those interactions lasted only minutes. But the memories will last forever. And Tom's ability to create unforgettable experiences extends far beyond hospitals. During a hilarious appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, several Spider-Man impersonators stood together in front of the audience. At first, nobody suspected anything unusual. It seemed like a normal comedy segment. Then suddenly, one of the Spider-Men removed his mask. The crowd completely exploded when they realized it was actually Tom Holland himself. The screams were deafening. People jumped to their feet clapping and cheering, while Tom laughed at the chaos unfolding around him. Jimmy jokingly suggested that stunt doubles probably handled all the dangerous flips for him, but Tom immediately responded with playful confidence. "Well, yeah," he joked, "but I'm the real Spider-Man." The audience erupted with laughter and applause. Another unforgettable surprise happened during a special fan event where Tom appeared alongside Zendaya and Jake Gyllenhaal. The children attending the event could barely process what they were seeing. Spider-Man, MJ, and Mysterio were suddenly standing right in front of them together. The trio spent time joking around with fans, posing for photos, and talking with children about superheroes, villains, and saving the world. Tom's natural humor instantly relaxed everyone around him. At one point, a child asked if he could shoot webs. Tom laughed and replied that he had already used all of his web fluid on the way there. The kids erupted with laughter immediately. But underneath the jokes and excitement was something much more meaningful: genuine care. One especially emotional interaction unfolded when Tom met a young fan who had written him a heartfelt letter. The child introduced himself by writing, "Hi Spider-Man, I'm Haram Song, a huge fan from Korea. I really want to meet Spider-Man, I mean Mr. Peter Parker." As Tom read the letter aloud, his smile slowly grew wider. You could tell the words genuinely touched him. Meanwhile, the child sat there overwhelmed with happiness, barely able to believe that Spider-Man himself was carefully listening to every sentence he had written. Tom even joked about owning his own Spider-Man blanket too, instantly making the interaction feel personal instead of formal. Moments like those are exactly why fans connect with him so deeply. Tom understands that Spider-Man means something powerful to people, especially children. For many kids, Spider-Man represents courage, aid during fear, hope during difficult times, strength during loneliness. And rather than distancing himself from that responsibility, Tom embraces it fully. Of course, Tom Holland isn't the only superhero actor who has dedicated time to creating unforgettable memories for fans. Robert Downey Jr. once transformed into Tony Stark in real life when he surprised a young fan during a special event. The child, visibly emotional and overwhelmed, received a personal visit from the actor who brought Iron Man to life for an entire generation. Robert joked warmly with him, complimented his bow tie, and made the boy feel like the center of the universe during those precious moments. It didn't feel like meeting an actor. It felt like Iron Man himself had stepped out of the Marvel universe. Meanwhile, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston surprised fans together while effortlessly slipping back into their legendary Thor and Loki chemistry. Their humor and charisma instantly transformed an ordinary interaction into a moment fans would never forget. Then there was Chadwick Boseman, whose surprise appearances often carried a deeply emotional weight. During one touching encounter, Chadwick unexpectedly met aspiring young filmmakers who spoke passionately about how much Black Panther had inspired them. The second they realized he was standing in front of them, emotions overwhelmed the room. Chadwick listened carefully to every dream they shared, encouraging them with genuine kindness and sincerity. It reminded everyone why his impact reached so far beyond movies. Ben Affleck also created unforgettable moments when he casually appeared at a Batman-themed event and joined fans, debating whether Batman or Superman would win in a fight. The reactions were priceless when everyone suddenly realized Batman himself had entered the conversation. At the same time, Gal Gadot brought real-life hope to children when she visited a hospital dressed fully as Wonder Woman. One mother described the surreal moment Wonder Woman walked into her daughter Caroline's hospital room during leukemia treatment. For those children, seeing a superhero standing beside them in real life felt impossible. Yet there she was. And for a few moments, fear disappeared completely, replaced by joy, wonder, hope. Jason Momoa surprised fans in an entirely different way with his infectious personality and larger-than-life energy. Whether discussing environmental causes or casually joking with strangers, Jason brought warmth and excitement everywhere he went. And when Zachary Levi unexpectedly appeared at a Shazam fan event, the crowd exploded into screams the moment they realized the real-life superhero was standing beside them. But once again, one of the most unforgettable fan moments of all belonged to Tom Holland. During the promotion for Spider-Man: No Way Home, fans packed into a theater expecting nothing more than a trailer screening. Instead, the entire room erupted into absolute chaos when Tom suddenly walked onto the stage. Phones flew into the air. Fans jumped to their feet screaming. Some people laughed. Others cried. The theater transformed into a celebration within seconds. Tom stood there smiling emotionally as he absorbed the overwhelming reaction surrounding him. "It's been such a massive pleasure working on this film," he told the audience sincerely. "As a huge fan of Spider-Man myself, I truly can't wait to share this experience with all of you." And moments like that perfectly explain why fans continue to love him so much. Because at the end of the day, these surprises are about far more than celebrities simply showing up unexpectedly. They're about connection. They're about creating joy during moments people will remember forever. Whether it's John Cena reading books to children in classrooms, the cast of Avengers, Infinity War surprising comic book store customers, or Benedict Cumberbatch casually walking into stores dressed like Doctor Strange, every interaction carries the same message. These heroes understand the impact they have on people. And among them all, Tom Holland continues to stand out, not just because he plays Spider-Man, but because he genuinely lives the kindness, humility, compassion, and heart that Spider-Man has always represented. If Spider-Man ever surprised you like this, how would you react? Comment your favorite Tom Holland moment below.